Hey everyone, Andre and Michelle here from Canoe.
Hi.
And today we are going to go over some of the equipment and gear that we take when we go on a camping trip and a canoe trip. Most of these items that we have here will be going with us when we go to the Kawartha Highlands Signature Site Provincial Park during the May 2-4 long weekend. And we're going to show you a brief overview of each of the items. It looks like there's a lot here, so hopefully this video won't take too long. Most of these items will all end up inside one of our 2 packs or our food barrel that we're taking with us. There's our food barrel right there. Some of the items, of course, are going to have to go on the outside because they can't go inside the barrel, such as our paddles, fishing rod, of course. But yeah, for the most part, all this stuff will be carried by either one of us at any point during our trip. And coming up, we're just going to do some reviews and overviews of the items that we're taking. So I guess the first thing we'll talk about are these back here. This is our tent. Actually, these 2 packs here are our tent. One is our fly, the other is going to be the actual base to the tent. Right now you're about to see a big monster coming into the frame. This is Chico, our cat, down in the corner, the white furry beast. But he doesn't usually go camping with us because, I mean, he wouldn't survive out there. Even though he's a cat, you think he'd survive, but he wouldn't last a second. So anyways, this is our tent right here. Like I said, this is the fly and this is the tarp, or sorry, the fly and the base of the tent. The reason why we separate them into 2 packs is because if it rains, then we have the fly, which is going to be nice and secluded from the tent. This stays wet, this will always stay dry, and it's just a neat little system for us to take care of all that.
And it also helps to distribute the weight, so Andre's not carrying everything.
So I don't have to carry 1,000 pounds. Michelle can do some work too.
Yes.
This is just the poles, of course. This will go along with the tent, and the pegs, the stakes as well. So that's nice and small and light, and I think the tent in total weighs about 8 pounds for everything combined right there. We don't always use this, but sometimes we do if it's raining and we need some shelter or if we need a windbreak. This is our tarp. It's a guide tarp. It's 12 feet by 9.5 feet. Everything's contained in here that we need. We've got our rope. We've got some paracord in here, nice bright yellow paracord. So nobody gets beheaded when their rope is tied a little bit too low. But yeah, this is a good little system. We take this with us for every trip. And so far this season, we've only had to use it once. We just bought this year. It's manufactured by Canoe Technical Outdoor. But it seems like it's a nice little tarp. We like it so far. Of course,
This is the beast of our burden right
yes,
here.
every tent, every camper needs a sleeping bag. Well, I guess you don't always need a sleeping bag during the summer, but for the most part, you always need a sleeping bag. Both Michelle and I carry the Marmot Trestles 30. That's 30 relates to the Fahrenheit scale. That equates to about -1 in Celsius. So we use this year round. This is both, well, I guess we don't use it in the winter, but we use it in spring, fall, and summer. -1 rated bag is actually not warm enough for some of the camping that we do. So what Michelle and I both do is we also carry sleeping bag liners. So inside this is Michelle's sleeping bag liner. She actually made this herself. She picked up some fleece at a local fabric store. And actually this is a pillowcase. This is the first thing to come out. She had some leftover
Creature
fleece.
of comfort.
Creature of comfort, yeah. So she made this pillowcase, something that she likes to wrap her pillow in. It's nice and soft. It also adds a little extra warmth around her head. And here's the liner. Yeah, she just made this. It's
Big sack.
pretty much just a big sack. Just goes inside your sleeping bag. This is a thicker fleece than the material that I use. I'm actually able to put my sleeping bag and my fleece liner in my compression sack for my sleeping bag. Michelle she opted to use a thicker fleece, and it doesn't quite fit in that one, so she uses a 2 system where she's got them separated.
I did find though that the thicker fleece was a little bit warmer because Andre has like a micro fleece.
I have micro fleece, yeah.
And he wasn't quite as cozy as I was.
No.
I also added a drawstring to the top of that fleece bag liner, so if it did get cold air was starting to come in, I could draw it closed, even though my sleeping bag also has a draw cord at the top. But
Yes. Or if she gets a little too annoying, then I just stuff her in there and
right.
cinch it up.
Okay.
These are our pillows. We both
open one.
use the same pillow. These are by Mech. It's Mech's base camp pillow. It's kind of the same system that you get with a lot of pads where you have a valve system. They're self-inflating and a little bit of air, and there's some insulation inside as well. A couple puffs. The great thing about these is you can get the firmness that you want. If you like a really high pillow, couple more puffs, a low pillow, little bit of, you just let a little bit of the air out, and it works kind of nice.
Yeah.
I do tend to find that I like to put I carry a buff with me for every trip that I go on, and I use that as my pillowcase, multi-purpose of course, and it just tends to make it feel a little bit nicer. These things, they kind of don't let moisture wick away very well, kind of sits on the surface, so the buff kind of helps to pull that moisture away a little bit. Makes just for a little bit more of a comfortable sleep. There you go, Chico.
We heard like a lot of people, and I've actually done it in the past myself, just get like one of their stuffed sacks, or they buy like a little fleece bag or something and they'll shove their clothes in it and use that for a pillow. But I personally would rather just carry the little bit of extra weight and a little bit of extra space in my pack and have that pillow, because it just makes a world of difference at night when you're trying to sleep.
So here are our clothing bags. I'll let you take a guess at whose bag is whose.
That's
Yes.
not fair.
If you guessed correctly, you've said that the larger bag is Michelle's bag. She tends to take a little more clothes than I do.
But it doesn't compress all the way. I need a new compression
She
set.
blames
I need
compression.
a new one.
I blame clothing.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, we put them in compression sacks. They're both water resistant. So if it is kind of damp and raining out, then when you take a clean pair of clothes out, nice new pair of socks, they're all dry, they feel comfortable, and just so much more enjoyable. But they compress down real well and they fit nicely in your pack. So, and these are the outdoor research compression sacks. I actually prefer these ones. This is just a North 49 one I think we picked up at Europe Bound downtown. And these are okay. I mean, they're great. They don't seem to work as well as these ones. I'm not sure how water resistant they are. But I think we can all agree, even Chico, that these ones are a little bit better.
I did have, though, to be fair, a fleece sweater in that one, which I wouldn't take on all my trips.
Yes, which I don't think I had on this trip on the weekend because it was a little too warm for me.
It's a little bulky.
I didn't really need a fleece sweater.
I didn't wear it once.
No.
Is that your camera case?
So this is our camera case. I know a lot of people say that you should have a hard case for camping. I do kind of tend to agree a little bit, especially if you're taking a really expensive camera equipment. But to reduce weight and bulk, we opted for something a little bit smaller. It's not waterproof, so we have to have a system that works well to keep it dry, but at the same time protected. We're pretty cautious with everything. I would like to think that we'll never damage our camera case, but I mean, you never really know. But I think that this one works well. It's small, it's got a nice little clip, and so far it's worked really well for us, and I think we'll continue to use it until we break our camera and have to buy a new one.
We actually put it in here just for added protection. It's a waterproof liner. So when we roll it up, we actually pack it with a little bit of extra air to hopefully add some additional protection.
Outdoor
So
research.
that works.
Outdoor research makes a lot of great equipment. I especially like a lot of their, like I said, a lot of their sacks. This is their dry sack. I think they work really well, and we'll probably continue to buy some of their stuff in the future. So I guess we'll get into some of the stuff that we use while we're actually canoeing. We don't always use these. These are our paddling gloves. Mine I bought at Mech. These are the Humboldt SQ 3mm neoprene gloves. They're nice. They keep your hands warm. They don't keep your hands dry. You'll definitely get wet if you get these in the water. Michelle has these. These are a pair of gloves from Midas. They're just I guess they're latex coated. I'm not sure what they are.
Latex dipped, I think.
Latex dipped glove, yeah. They're great for her. They're nice and small. They fit. Again, it's not waterproof at all, but it just keeps your hand nice and cool. And because they're latex coated, she gets a nice grip on her paddle if she does tend to get them a little bit wet.
Yeah.
Always have to have a life jacket. I will say that the crew at Two Canoe are guilty of not always wearing a life jacket,
True.
and we would like to promote always wearing your life jacket. It's definitely a requirement for safety. We try to always wear them. Sometimes if the water's a little shallower, if it's only hip deep, then we might not wear it, or we may just be guilty of not wearing them. But always have a life jacket, and always wear your life jacket. Don't follow
Don't follow our example.
our example. We don't always wear them, but you really should always wear them.
Yeah. Part of the reason, I know this is horrible, but I do need a new life jacket. It's a little big for me. It's also ancient. I'm sure it's probably not the safest. I mean, I've had it forever, since high school. So I'm looking to get a new life jacket soon, and I promise to start wearing it all the time.
Hikers. Now, canoeing, you think, well, you're in a canoe. What do you need hikers for? Well, At some point, as a canoeer, you're going to have to do a portage, and hikers are key. These are low cut. We both have low cut shoes. You can get mid cut and high cut, which are great if you tend to roll over your ankles. I find these to be a little more comfortable myself. They're not great if you step in some mud that's taller than the cut of the boot, but these are good. They're both comfortable. Definitely a must. The grips are always important when you're walking down muddy slopes, steep slopes, wet slopes. It's just it's a must. You have to have hikers.
I got these this year. I actually do tend to roll my ankle a lot, but I couldn't commit to the ankle cut ones because I didn't find them quite as comfortable. But these are by what is it, Merrell?
Yeah, Morel.
These are by Merrell, and I love them. They're so comfortable. I got them on sale, and I definitely get this brand again. I love it.
Now this isn't something that you wear, technically, I guess. This is a yoke pad. It just makes carrying the canoe a little bit easier. When we rent a canoe, we do solo carries for the canoe. You only need one person. The canoes are light enough, and they're kind of set up for that. So you just throw this on the yoke, and it just makes it a little more comfortable on your shoulders. The canoe that we have ourselves, it's a little bit heavier. I'm not sure exactly of the weight, but generally when we take that canoe, we tandem the canoe. So Michelle in the back, myself at the front, and we don't use it then. But we do have a system of pool noodles that Michelle uses at the back, just to take some of the relief off her shoulders.
It's nice because I stand at the very back of the canoe and I rest it right here, so the pool noodles on the gunnels works amazingly. Bug protection.
Bug protection. This past weekend,
Oh my gosh.
this was definitely a must. Bug spray, this was a full can. It's almost empty. It's full of cancer, so that's not a good thing, but it was definitely, we had to use it. They were relentless out there. We both have bug jackets. These are by Bug Blocker. They work pretty well. Interestingly enough, though, Michelle's bug jacket seems to be made of a slightly different material, even though it's by the same company. She bought hers a few years back.
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, I bought mine just this year,
They've
and
improved it, I think.
I guess they've definitely improved the material of the mesh. Mine is a lot softer. Hers
Mine's
is
scratchy.
pretty scratchy. She barely put her hood over her head because it was so scratchy. But definitely a must on a weekend like the past one. It was pretty bad out there.
This is also definitely a must. I'm not going to really explain the contents because I'm sure everyone kind of knows basically what goes in here. But if you pick this up from MEC, it was pre-stocked. We added a polyscore into it. I think we added in some extra safety pins. That's about it.
A few extra bandages, I think.
A few extra band-aids. That's the only thing we ever seem to use. So hopefully it's all we're ever going to need. I think we all know what this is for. I don't need to explain it. Just in case the bathroom facilities aren't that good. What's next?
So I guess one thing we take at night, we don't carry flashlights with us because headlamps are so much more convenient. Michelle just uses Black Diamond. This is actually great. I think it's a 90 lumen flashlight. It's super bright. You can see quite far with it. Mine is pencil. I have a carrying case for mine as well, just to make sure it stays nice and protected. It's only about 50 lumens. It's the Tika Plus 2. It's a good headlamp. If I stand next to Michelle, I mean, she outshines me for sure. The brighter lamp, but they're both good. Definitely great to have and useful.
Next, my old trusty thermarest that I have had for probably close to 10, like when I started camping forever ago. And it has done me well. I've totally beaten it up, dragged it out under rocks to lie down, and I haven't had a hole yet, so that's good. And I found that I always used to wake up in the morning on the tent floor with my thermarest beside me, so we got, what was it, tent sealer?
It's just the seal grip.
So we got some seal grip, and then we just added a bunch of dots, and this little grippy stuff helps you not to slide around so much on the tent.
Yeah, silicone does a trick.
Andre's, his is a little bit newer than mine.
Yeah.
Mine's the old
Mine's just
rectangle version.
Yeah, I have the Thermarest Pro Plus. It's great. It tapers down at the bottom. It's just to cut down on a little bit of the weight. It probably provides the same insulation, same R value as Michelle's. But yeah, it works great. I love this thing, and hopefully it lasts me a long time.
So I also have this trusty little thing, which acts as double duty for my thermarest. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this before. You blow up your thermarest and you fold it in half a couple times, and then it becomes a little chair, which I love. It's so comfortable, and at the end of a long day, you just want to sit on something cushy. This is the way to go. maybe at the end of this video I'll blow it up and show you how it works.
Speaking of chairs, actually, that system is great because it's so light. It's easy to pack,
Yeah, it
easy
just
to
weighs
carry.
nothing. So light.
It's very light. We have a few other options that we've taken with us in the past. We definitely don't take the giant camper chairs that you normally see car campers and stuff taking. We offer something a little bit smaller. So the first thing that we have is something we picked up from Bass Pro Shop. This is 4 pounds in total. We usually strap them to the outside of our bag. Don't want to crush Chico here. But it's nice. It's just a small chair. I think some of you may have seen them before, the triangle chairs. A lot of them actually don't come with the back, which we opted to get because it's just a little bit more comfort. But this is kind of like a luxury item for us when we're camping. It adds, like I said, 4 pounds is a lot of weight when your pack already weighs, 36 pounds or up to 70 pounds. So this is a luxury, and we only opt to take it when we absolutely want it, and when we know we don't have a lot of portaging to do. And yeah, it's just something that we use. Another one that we have is just a tiny one. The tag's still on it because we haven't used these yet. But it's just the same idea. I think this weighs about 2 pounds. It's very, very light, but it's the same idea. It's just a triangle chair. And yeah, it's just another option. I don't know if we'll ever end up using these. They were $2.
At the dollar store.
At the dollar store. It was a good deal. We thought it was a bargain and they might be useful, but we haven't quite used them yet.
I definitely opt to take this. The only downside is if it is like raining really hard or something, you're going to get this all in the mud. But that's what I use my bag liner for. So I have my bag liner here in case it's raining and we're paddling for hours and hours. Everything's waterproofed inside my bag, but I still will sometimes just throw this on anyway. It's my bag liner. And then if I want to sit in my thermarest chair and it's dirty, I can always put my bag liner on the ground and not get it too dirty. Chico's really making this video great.
He's a groomer. He likes to say clean, which is great. He's a clean cat.
Okay, what's next? Here, you can explain our stove. You're good at it.
This is our MSR Whisper Light. It's a fairly simple stove. It works great. There are no simmer capabilities, but most of our meals are all boiled water. That's all we need. We rehydrate stuff, we boil stuff. That's about it. So it works great. It uses white gas. Wrapped around the outside here is just our heat deflector that comes with it. It's good. It's a good system. I recommend this for anyone else looking for a stove. If they do look for something that has simmer capabilities, this is probably not the stove for you, but I think it works great, and I'm able to cook pretty much anything that I want on this, so we get lots of use out of this thing.
We generally only boil water for most of our meals, so I mean that works perfectly. It boils water so fast. We also actually have 3 feet of duct tape on the bottom of our...
It's actually 3 meters.
Oh, it's 3 meters?
Yeah.
It's a lot of duct tape.
A lot of duct tape.
So we have a lot of duct tape on the bottom of this fuel canister because duct tape is amazing and has actually patched a hole in our canoe before. Okay, you can extend that. Go ahead.
So this is our GSI Pinnacle Dualist pot set. I'm not going to take it out, or should I take it out?
Take it.
Okay, I'll take it out.
It's
I wasn't going to take it out because we have another video coming up that talks about it a little bit. You're gonna see us cooking some stuff while we were out in the park. But it comes with this nifty little carrying case. Acts as both the carrying case and the inside is waterproofed. I'm guessing it's just silicone. Not really sure, but it's waterproofed, and this is your wash basin after you're finished cooking.
Yeah, you can wash everything in here perfectly. It's really nice.
Yes. So the handle here just folds out and snaps into place. This is actually, I don't know, I really enjoy this handle. It's just
solid.
It's solid. It works great. I don't know. A lot of the handles that you clip and remove, I mean, I guess there's some benefit to the handles that you remove, but so far I've enjoyed this. It's worked out well for us. Comes with a little plastic lid. I don't know if you can see it, but there's small holes through here, so it acts as your strainer as well when you're boiling something. Inside the pot are your nesting bowls. These are the bowls that you eat with. It's actually a 4-bowl system. One is your bowl that you could eat out of. The other is what they consider to be a mug. And surrounding this is a little neoprene, cotton, I don't know, polyester, I'm not sure what it is. There's definitely neoprene on there, but it's just the insulator that keeps stuff nice and toasty warm. And 2 lids. Actually, there's only 1 lid for each bowl, but there's a little sip hole around each. And they work pretty good.
Yeah. When we are making our dehydrated meals, so we throw like our dried ground beef in here and like our dried pasta in there. We add the hot water and then we put it all in here and like cinch it up and then let it set for 15 minutes. So this little thing kind of triples really in use as a pot cozy as well. So it's good.
Yep.
And then we bring 1 big spoon, which has measurements on it for water, stirring, whatever. And then we each have our own spork, which folds down into this little tiny thing, and that came with our pot set. And we bring 1 other spoon for stirring things, dry towel, the spice thing. This is from GSI. We have salt, pepper on one side, and both sides of the top are filled with roasted red pepper 'cause it's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And the sponge, camp suds, which we use for washing our dishes, but we also use sometimes for washing ourselves.
Biodegradable campsites, of course.
And a little cutting board. Sometimes we have meat and cheese with us, so we'll just use this, or we'll use our paddles.
Whatever's closer.
And we just kind of throw everything into this little mesh sack. We used to keep our sponge and our dry towel and everything in a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag, and then we realized that stuff doesn't dry out in that, so we don't do that anymore. So that's the rest of our kitchen. What else do we have here? We have our water filter.
This is our water filter. This is MSR's gravity filter. Very handy. Comes with a 4-liter bag, which is great for us because we tend to go through quite a bit of water when we're out there. I think between Michelle and I per day we probably go through at minimum 8 liters. That means 2 refills of this bag. But you just scoop some lake water into there. At the bottom there's an attachment. There's a pre-filter for some of your larger debris. And then through the tube, connected through the tube, this is your microfilter. It has a 0.02 micron, I think that's the filter range. So that takes care of all bacteria. Nothing you need to worry about. Doesn't filter out viruses, but I don't think we have a problem with viruses in Ontario's lake water. Has a pretty neat little stop switch here, a button that turns your water off. And this is an attachment which works for a variety assortment of bottles. Nalgene works great. We actually have this here as the Plata Preserve. They make this, it's from Platypus. They make this, and I guess their intended use is to put wine in it. It's their wine preservation system, or any other alcohol I guess you want to take in there. We don't actually use this for alcohol. What we do though is we use it to backflush our filter system just to keep it maintained, the flow rate running nice and smooth. I think you require about a half a liter to a liter to properly backflush this, and 750 mils is the perfect amount of water. Generally, we like to use this. Our backup system is, of course, the hand pump. That's what we used to use before we bought this, but call it laziness, call it what you will. Michelle and I do not like to pump water.
Not at all.
No, it just takes too long. So I think
You're gonna go thirsty.
we go through quite a bit of water, and the flow rate on this is about 1.75 liters per minute. My estimate for the hand pump of the Canoe Hiker Pro, and Michelle and I are pumping probably about 1 liter per hour. Just pure laziness, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a great little system, and it gets lots of use. Here we have, this is actually not a part of our kitchen. This is actually comfort. I guess I could have talked about this earlier. This is a candle lantern, made by Candle Lantern. I guess that's the company name. But the only reason why we use this is just pure comfort. In the morning, maybe about an hour before we wake up. For the most part, only when it's cold outside. We light this in the tent. Let it stay lit for about an hour, and I find it tends to take the dampness out of the air, which makes it a little bit more tolerable to get out of your sleeping bag and into the cold air. Maybe it's all subconscious, and maybe it's in my head, maybe it doesn't actually do anything for you. A lot of people claim that it doesn't do anything, it doesn't provide any heat, but I don't know. When I wake up in the morning after an hour, I get the courage to get out of bed, so it does something for me anyways. Michelle thinks it does.
I think it helps.
I
Takes
think
dampness out.
Yeah, exactly. I think it does something, so definitely very useful. Comes in this neoprene case, so nice and protected.
This here is our toiletry kit. All of our toiletry stuff is in here except for our toilet paper, which we usually have in a separate Ziploc bag. This all gets sealed into the bear barrel at night because of all the scents in here. I'm not going to run through everything, but we have these trusty toothbrushes, which I will show you. They have the toothpaste in the bottom, so that's kind of handy because actually Andre and I use different toothpaste, so it works for us.
I'm not sure who made. I think this is
It's called Tube, isn't it?
Tube something. I don't remember who makes this.
They're from Mech, though.
Yeah, it's called Tube. YourHealthySmile.com. Tube.
It's so convenient to have it together in the same thing. But we also carry, SPF lip chap because our lips have gotten burned numerous times. Some face wipes, deodorant, hand cream, contacts, dental floss, the usual stuff that goes into a toiletry kit.
Right behind Chico, we've got a couple items. These are my items. These are knives. Michelle has a knife of her own as well.
I don't know where it is.
Yes, we can't find it at the moment. But I have two. One is a multi-tool. Has pliers, scissors, screwdrivers. I mean, there's a lot of things on here that I really don't envision I'm ever going to need while I'm out there. But I guess it's a just in case. It's for those potential scenarios that you never know that are going to come up. So this is quite handy. The pliers I actually do use when I'm fishing to take the hooks out when I need to. This is my peace of mind. I know I'm probably it's unrealistic to think that anything's going to happen, but I mean, I'm referring to bears, wolves. I mean, some of the places where we camp, there's a lot of wolves in the area. There are quite a few black bears, so I like to sleep with this next to my head in the tent. It makes me feel better at night. During the day, it's usually in my bag, and I don't even think about it. But at night, I just have it close by, and I'm a scaredy cat. This is just my peace of mind. That's all. But you know what? Actually, and as an aside to that, it's actually a good knife if I need to belay wood. If we're trying to get to the dry wood when we're making a fire, then I can use this to belay the wood as well.
And there's a flint.
Oh, and there's a flint, which we don't use very often, but I have tried it a few times. But yeah, you just
backup if we needed it.
Strike the flint, and it's a backup. It's a good point. It's a backup if we ever need it. We run out of lighter fluid or matches or whatever we have with us.
Another thing we have here is our camp journal. We take a lot of videos, so that kind of records a lot of the moments anyway. But if we need to take anything down or we want to remember something for next time, we do have a little camp journal that we bring. We also have, of course, your map. You really can't leave home without a map. This is just a map of the Kawartha Highlands, which is where we went, and it's signed by Kevin Callan.
He's one of our idols, an icon.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just a seal line case from Mech. It's worked so far, hasn't gotten wet or anything like that, so we like it. Next, it's the bags.
Next, we've got a couple of our bags here. My bag is the Ibex 80. It's manufactured by Mech. Inside the bag, I have a pack liner that's just to keep things nice and dry. This is also a liner by Mech. I believe it's the largest one they have. I'm not quite sure what the volume of this bag is. Both Michelle and I have a ton of carabiners clipped on the outside of our bags. They're very useful for clipping water bottles. We use Crocs for some of our water shoes. I also have a thermometer on the outside, just whenever you're curious of how hot or how cold it is. Michelle has the Low Alpine Liberty 75. This is a 75-liter bag. Surprisingly enough, though, even though my bag has a 5-liter volume increase in size, her bag seems to fit more stuff in there. I think it's just the way it's manufactured, the way it's layered is a lot better. Mine has a lot of pockets, which I think ends up being kind of dead space, rather. She also has a bag liner on the inside as well.
They're pretty huge.
These are quite large, but
everything fits in there, and then I can just roll it down a couple times. So
yeah,
just safety to ensure that nothing gets wet, and if your canoe does fail, you're still gonna have dry, clean clothes to sleep in.
Exactly. We have over here a day bag. This actually came with Michelle's bag. It just clips on the outside. We actually use this to carry our stove and fuel and our pot set, and then that goes as a separate container inside our barrel. We have this barrel that we use for all our food. our toiletries, anything that has any sort of smell to it. It's only a 30-liter barrel, which is enough for Michelle and I. Attached to this we have the Ostrom Outdoors barrel harness. This is actually meant for a 60-liter barrel, but I've kind of jimmy rigged it so that it works on a 30-liter barrel as well. I'm sure Bill Ostrom didn't intend it to be used in this way, but it turned out to work okay. We also would use, our original intent is to use this for a 60-liter barrel, but it was just too large for both Michelle and I, so I found a way to make it work regardless. But it's very comfortable. Ostrom makes some great stuff. So I think that's pretty much it.
Oh, except for our paddles, which I think we've kind of shown before, right?
Yeah, I think we've talked about the paddles before. They're the Gray Owl Sagamore Cherry Ottertail paddles, which we both love. They're getting a little dinged up. I think they need to have a fresh coat of oil, linseed oil, to refinish them. They're starting to soak up a little too much water now. But I think that's pretty much it. I've got my fishing rod and tackle. Don't really need to show that. I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing what we take with us on a canoe trip. We would appreciate any reviews, any comments, questions, even suggestions as to what you think could be improvements to what we take, ideas of what you think would work better. But I hope you enjoyed it, and you guys look forward to seeing some more video of us and some additional stuff in the Kawarthas. So that's Michelle and Andre here at Canoe.